Show. As always, I'm your host, Scott Stalling. With me, Shane Coles, the
Hello.
Prepared Guy.
Good morning.
How you doing today?
I am good. A little nervous.
Yeah, we are. We're actually broadcasting live today. We broadcast live every week, but this is a unique scenario. We're actually broadcasting remote live at the World Congress on the Families. And for those who don't know what this is yet, this is the mecca for taking care of your family. It's reinstituting all the values that we're losing. It's reinstituting things like the Constitution, our constitutional promises of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I've been here for a day, and this is my second day. This is probably the best conference out of all the conferences I've been to in higher education and sales and digital media. This is the best conference I have ever been to.
Yeah, I'm definitely blown away by just walking in here, and I just barely arrived, so I'm last minute here and trying to find my seat here. But it's absolutely amazing. I think we're very blessed to have them here in Utah this year.
Oh yeah, I mean this is their 9th Congress. I mean it's a movement that needed to happen. It's a movement that I'm very grateful for. It's funny because my mom educated me on this a few years ago, and I'm like, what the heck is that? So when this opportunity came up, I was like, absolutely, I'm there. And the fact that it's here in Utah was even more exciting for me. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is cool, and I'm going to be here all week. So I'll have some more wrap-up stuff that we can talk about next week to kind of showcase some of the things that I've learned, which I had no idea about. Like, one of the coolest things is I went to a class yesterday on the economic and social costs of family breakdown, and it talked a little bit about abortion, what that does. But it also talked about how, as people have less kids, that's reducing our gross domestic product.
Yeah.
And now we have more senior citizens retiring and requiring government aid and all these other issues that it's happened to Greece, it's happened to Japan, it's happening to all these other countries, and we're next. I mean, we just see the graph switch, and it's scary.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we need to let everyone know another reason why we're here. Not only were we asked to come here and cover this, but also I think we talk a lot about preparedness, and that's really what the show's about. We're emergency preparedness and survival show. But I think we look too far into the future. We're preparing for future events and not necessarily taking care of the present.
Absolutely. And the reality is if you take care of your family and you take care of your values now, you're going to be stronger in the future, no matter what comes. And without further going on, I mean, we could talk all day just rambling, but we have a special guest today. We've got Dave Buer. He is actually part of the Sutherland Group. He's the Director of Media for the World Congress on the Families. He is our inside guy. He's here live with us today. We're really excited to have him here. Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you guys ended up being able to host the World Congress on the Families 9.
Sure. Thanks so much for having us on your show. You guys are doing great stuff. I'm blown away. We met about a month ago, and the information and the knowledge that you guys have, I just want to actually just sit here and listen to you guys talk about. But thanks for having us on. And just to give a little background, as you said, this is the first time that World Congress has come to the U.S., and it was started in the mid-'90s, actually, in reaction to what was going on in Europe, Western Europe and Eastern Europe, with family breakdown, demographic winter type things, where families were really weak in Europe. And so they started World Congress in those areas. I think the first one was in Prague, and then they've been, Warsaw, Sydney, Mexico City, Geneva, all over the world.
And now Salt Lake City.
And now Salt Lake City. It's here in our backyard. And what they do is they bring together the world's leading scholars on family and pro-life issues, religious leaders. It's an interfaith effort. And so despite our doctrinal differences with different faiths, we put those aside and we say we unite on family as the foundation of society. And so here in Salt Lake, we have evangelicals, we have Jews, we have Mormons, we have Catholics, we have Protestants, all uniting on family and life. And if you have the chance, come on down. There's still a few day passes left. We were planning on 2,000 people here at the Grand America in Salt Lake. We have more than 3,000 now. The response has been amazing from more than 50 countries. People are here. And a really neat aspect of this is that we have over 500 college-age students here.
Wow.
To get training and network and have opportunities to really learn how they can be involved in the family and pro-life movements.
Now, is that the Emerging Leaders?
That is the Emerging Leaders program, yep.
Now, they get to stay through Monday, is that right?
No, everything wraps up on Friday. So we started yesterday, and we wrap up on Friday. And they have their own special program where they'll have tailored training to help these college-age young adults get a good handle on these issues and then understand how they can make a difference.
Wow. That just is awesome. I mean, when I was a kid, growing up, I think I was talking to my wife about this yesterday. Some of these things that we're learning, are things that we keep saying, why aren't they teaching this in school? And I think back and I'm like, okay, I didn't graduate too long ago, but, well, actually I did. And the reality was that they did talk a little bit, like just tip of the iceberg about family and the social impacts of family. But by the time my wife went through school, and we're 6 years apart, by the time she went through school, they didn't touch on it at all. They didn't even breathe life to the subject of family. They just stayed away from it. It became taboo.
Right, and this also gets to the preparedness aspect. We realize now that we cannot rely on outside resources to provide the foundation that our children need, and so we need to take care inside the walls of our own home of the needs of our kids, to give them the knowledge and understanding of the importance of family, why it's the bedrock, why it's the foundation of society, and also lead by example. If you're a mom or a dad, you need to show that love and that care and that attention to your children so that they see actually this in practice. That family really is that refuge for them in amidst the storms of life, that they can always, inside the walls of their home, find a place of love, of safety, of fun, of happiness, despite what's going on the outside, and also the education, as you mentioned. We have to be able to show to our kids, or explain to our kids, what happens to society when family breaks down? What happens to society when we no longer value life?
Well, one of the things I found yesterday that was really interesting is there was a study done that tracked incomes for families versus single, it went married people versus single people. And on average, married people made $4,000 more per year. Okay, and then when you factor in the kids, it was $16,000 more. And the study went on that the more kids you have, the more revenue you make. And one of the things was they found that as soon as a man gets married, he becomes more productive. He becomes more caring. He gets more involved with society. Whereas a single guy is more likely to hang out at home and play World of Warcraft or forgive the older relation, but Dungeons and Dragons, or maybe now they're playing Call of Duty. When in reality you get married, and that changes you.
Totally changes
for the better.
Your perspective. Yeah,
like when I got married, I had 3 months supply of food. I had some really cool gear, but not enough. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh crap! I gotta get ready.
Gotta get prepared.
And I made it my mission to make sure that I had enough food and water and everything. I had a year supply within a few months of getting married. I'm like, I've got to get this done, and it weighed on me.
Sorry, when you're single, obviously you only think of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now you have someone else to think of. You become less self-centered and prepare for others, and not necessarily just for yourself. Because you're pretty easy to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have the skills, you can really get along with very little. But,
what's funny is like that concept. You start taking care of other people. Like I get married, and then all of a sudden I'm working with Scouts. I grew up in Boy Scouts, and then had this long hiatus. But by being married and being involved locally, it got me more involved.
It really opens your eyes.
Yes.
You're no longer just taking care of yourself, and I think that changes your behavior. You work harder. You might have to work longer. You work smarter because you want to balance, home and work and civic and religious activities. And so I think it actually fundamentally changes, for the better, who you are. And the more selfless we can be, the better we are as a society. When we become a society that is self-centered and self-serving, I think that hurts everybody. But families help us to become more outward focused.
Yeah. Well, and having little kids, and that makes you a really good negotiator. I mean, I don't have kids myself, but we did foster care for a while, and that taught me a whole different level of communication that I've used for negotiation. I mean, my day-to-day life, I'm a realtor, and so now I feel like I'm a better negotiator for my clients with those skills that I picked up from having kids. You know, but to back that up with data, Eric Kiesel, who's